Welcome to the Velvet Lantern Mysteries. I'm Alistair Gray, and tonight we're stepping back into the fog-shrouded 1920s for a tale that chilled even the little gray cells of Hercule Poirot himself. Grab your Ovaltine, dim the lamps, and let the rain tap against your window. We begin. 1. The House That Breathed Secrets. The year is 1926. The month, November the 5th, Guy Fawkes night, though no fireworks dare trespass the iron skies above Harrogate. 30 miles west of London, the manor crouches atop its hill like a stone toad, windows glowing amber against the bruise-colored dusk. Its chimneys exhale peat smoke that smells of centuries. The drive is a tunnel of yews so old their branches knit overhead, dripping onto the Rolls-Royce as it purrs to a halt. Hercule Poirot steps out first. The November wind snatches at his fur-collared coat, but his mustache, mon Dieu, that magnificent mustache, remains symmetrical, waxed to the precision of a watchmaker's spring. He inhales the damp air, nostrils flaring. L'odeur de l'argent ancien et de la peur. Captain Hastings clambers after him, umbrella inside out, cheeks ruddy as roast beef. Dash it, Poirot, couldn't we have taken the train? This place looks like it eats people. Inspector Japp brings up the rear, collar up, muttering about weekends wasted on toffs. The great oak doors, black as midnight, studded with iron roses, swing inward before the butler can reach them. A draft carries beeswax, roast chestnuts, and something metallic beneath. Mrs. Finch, housekeeper, voice like a rusty hinge. Welcome to Harrogate, gentlemen. Mind the step, it's taken more than ankles in its time. The entrance hall is a cathedral of shadows. A chandelier the size of a small car drips wax onto a threadbare Persian rug. Portraits line the walls, Harrogates in ruffs, Harrogates in armor, Harrogates with eyes that follow you the way only the dead can. Poirot pauses beneath the largest, a full-length oils of Sir Reginald Harrogate at 40, painted 20 years ago. The man in the portrait is lean, hawkish, one hand on a globe as if the world were his to spin. The eyes are the same flint gray as the current master of the house, but the mouth is crueler, unsoftened by age. Looks like he's about to bite the painter. Précisément, a man who collects enemies the way others collect stamps. Mrs. Finch leads them past a suit of armor that creaks though no one touches it. A grandfather clock, face cracked like a smile, chimes 6 though Poirot's pocket watch insists it is 6:30. Mrs. Finch, without turning, clocks in this house keep their own counsel, best not to argue. The drawing room is a fever dream of crimson velvet and gilt. A fire roars in a hearth carved with gargoyles. Above the mantel, a stag's head wears a cobweb crown. The double doors burst open. Sir Reginald Harrogate strides in, 65 but vital as a man half his age. His hair is iron, his voice is a headline. Sir Reginald. Poirot, you're smaller than your reputation. No matter, reputations are what I trade in. He claps Poirot on the shoulder hard enough to stagger a lesser man. Poirot merely adjusts his tie, unruffled. Sir Reginald, to the room. Tonight we bury hatchets, or dig graves, depends on the company. He laughs, but no one joins him. The fire pops. A log collapses into ash. Dinner is postponed. A small electrical fault, Sir Reginald claims. Instead, he insists on a tour. The library, floor-to-ceiling books bound in blood-red leather, a globe that opens to reveal a tantalus of 1847 cognac. Poirot notes a safe behind a false panel, combination lock gleaming. The conservatory, a glass cathedral of orchids and orange trees, Lady Beatrice's domain. The air is thick with bergamot and humidity. A typewriter sits on a wicker desk, Evie's portable Corona ribbon half spent. The billiard room, green baize, ivory balls, a torn theater ticket fluttering from Tobias's pocket, the mousetrap dated tomorrow. The dispensary, Dr. Lang's lair. Bottles of laudanum, a vial labeled cyanide rat poison, half hidden behind gauze. The study, the heart of the house. Mahogany panels, a desk like a battleship. The letter opener, Florentine, 16th century, lies beside an inkwell shaped like a skull. The door is heavy oak, iron-banded with a bolt on the inside. A single key on a chatelaine hangs from a hook. No one enters this room without my say-so, not even the king. Poirot's eyes linger on the chimney, narrow soot black. On the windows, latched, bars disguised as decorative ironwork. On the blotter, a single word in Sir Reginald's spiky hand. Intention. You cut me out of the will for a betting slip. Uncle, that's rich, even for you. The prenup expires in 90 days, darling. Perhaps you should bet on that. Sir Reginald, the tonic I prescribed was water, doctor, like your excuses. Evie's pen scratches ceaselessly. Duval lights another Gauloise's. Mrs. Finch refills glasses with the precision of a sniper. At 10:47 p.m., Sir Reginald raises his glass. To buried hatchets, and to those who'd rather bury me. The chandelier flickers. A draught snakes through the room, though every window is shut. Poirot sips his tisane, eyes half closed. Mon ami, the temperature drops. Someone in this room has opened a door to murder. Sir Reginald retires to his study. The bolt slides home with a sound like a coffin lid. Poirot lingers in the hall, tapping his cane against the stopped grandfather clock. Bed, old chap? No. I listen. This house, it breathes. At 11:07 p.m., the lights flicker. A scream splits the silence, high, feminine, cut off as if a hand has clamped over the mouth. Footsteps pound. The study door rattles. Open up, police! The bolt is still thrown. The key dangles on its chatelaine. Inside. Poirot's eyes glitter like wet coal. Messieurs, the game. She has begun. And there we pause, darlings, on the threshold of the impossible. 2. The impossible murder. We left them at the study door, hearts hammering louder than Jap's fist. The bolt is thrown. The key is inside. And somewhere behind that oak, Sir Reginald Harrowgate is no longer breathing. Settle deeper into your chair, my dears. The rain has found the gutters. Let it drum us into the dark. The corridor outside the study is a tunnel of panic. Gas sconces gutter, throwing shadows that leap like pickpockets. Jap, roaring. Stand back, I'll have this door down if I have to. Poirot, hand on Jap's arm, calm as a surgeon. Non, mon ami, wood is innocent. It is the mind behind it we must break. Hastings arrives breathless, pajamas half-tucked, revolver dangling. Hastings. Good Lord, is he... Evie Shaw, voice cracking like ice on a pond. I screamed. I found him. The door wouldn't open. I rattled and rattled. She is wrapped in a peach silk dressing gown, hair loose for once, eyes wide as a child's. Her fingers are ink-stained, a smear of crimson mars her left thumb. Lady Beatrice appears in emerald velvet, diamonds flashing like panic signals. Lady Beatrice. Reginald! Reginald! She beats the door with the flat of her hand until the wood bruises her palm. Dr. Lang stumbles in, spectacles askew, smelling of ether. Tobias Blackwood sways behind him, brandy flask glinting. Duval lights a cigarette with trembling fingers. Mrs. Finch clutches a brass candlestick as if it were a crucifix. Poirot, raising his voice just enough. Silence. The door will open when it is ready. First we observe. He kneels, eye to the keyhole. The key is visible, turned in the lock from the inside. The bolt above it is a solid iron bar, flush against the jamb. No gap, no play. Jap. Keys on his chatelaine, I'll wager. Always wore it like a bloody medal. Poirot produces a silver pocket torch, slim as a fountain pen, and shines it under the door. A sliver of turkey carpet, A man's shoe, polished oxblood toe pointing toward the desk. Poirot, softly. Il est là, and he is not sleeping. Mrs. Finch produces a ring of keys that clanks like a jailer's. Mrs. Finch. Spare for the bolt, sir, Sir Reginald insisted. The bolt slides with a reluctant groan. The door swings inward on oiled hinges, the study exhales. It is a room that swallows sound. Mahogany panels drink the light. A single green banker's lamp pools over the desk like verdigris. Sir Reginald Harrowgate sits upright in his leather throne, head bowed as if in prayer. His right hand still grips the arms of the chair. The left lies palm up on the blotter. Between the third and fourth rib, the Florentine letter opener protrudes. Hilt deep, only the ruby pommel visible. Blood has soaked the white waistcoat in a near-perfect circle, the color of spilled claret. His eyes are open, filmed, reflecting the lamp like twin coins on a corpse. On the blotter, written in blood that has already browned at the edges, a single word, intention. The letters are uneven, spiky, Sir Reginald's own hand, but frantic, as if scratched in his final heartbeat. Dr. Long kneels, fingers trembling over the carotid. Dr. Long, hoarse, dead 20 minutes, perhaps 30. The blade pierced the heart, death instantaneous. Poirot sniffs the air. Beneath the iron tang of blood, something sweeter, almonds. Poirot, cyanure, but the wound is the wound, curious. Evie Shaw is seated on a tapestry stool, knees trembling. Poirot, gently. Mademoiselle, you screamed at 11:07, oui? Evie. I finished typing at 11:00. Sir Reginald buzzed for a final letter. I knocked, no answer. The door was locked. I rattled, I called. Then I don't know, I felt something wrong. I screamed. Jap. Clock in the hall stopped at 11:03. Explain that. Evie pales. I wound it this morning. It's always slow. Hastings checks his own watch, 11:37. We have a window, 11:00 to 11:07, 7 minutes. In that time, Sir Reginald was stabbed, the door locked and bolted from within, the key turned, the weapon wiped, the message written, and the killer vanished. Tobias snorts. Vanished? Like a blooming conjurer? Poirot. Poirot begins with the footprints. Poirot. Only Sir Reginald's shoes have walked this carpet tonight. Yet the drop of blood, here, is 6 inches from the desk. The killer stood there when the blade was raised. He demonstrates, miming the thrust. The imaginary blade drips. Lady Beatrice's hand flies to her throat. You're saying one of us, Poirot, was in this room? Yes. Now, who was where? He produces a small leather notebook, flips to a fresh page. Every soul accounted for, every path blocked. Yet the lion is in the cage and the keeper is gone. Poirot returns to the blotter. The word intention glimmers wetly. Jap. Last words? Taunt? Poirot dips a clean handkerchief, lifts a sample of the blood. It is thick, already clotting. Poirot. Written after death. See? The strokes are uneven, but the pressure is steady. A dying man's hand trembles. This hand did not. He examines the inkwell, empty. A fountain pen lies beside it, refill cartridge missing. The killer brought their own ink and took it away. As Jap photographs the scene with a bulky Graflex, Poirot notices something beneath the desk. A single diamond earring, teardrop shape, catching the lamplight like a tear. That's mine! I lost it yesterday. Poirot. Yesterday it was on your dressing table, madam. Tonight it is here. Curieux? He pockets it in a silk pouch. Dr. Lang opens his medical bag, retrieves a test kit. Dr. Lang. Almond smell, prussic acid, but no trace in the wound. Perhaps attempted poisoning first? Poirot sniffs the victim's lips. Nothing. Then the glass on the desk. Whiskey, untouched. Poirot. Or the scent is a ghost, a distraction. At 11:55, the temperature drops sharply. The fire in the grate hisses as if doused. Hastings shivers. Draft? Poirot moves to the chimney. He runs a gloved finger along the soot, wet. Poirot. Rain in the flue, yet the storm is from the west. This chimney faces east. He looks up, far above, a sliver of night sky. Poirot, softly. Someone has been up there, but not tonight. Japp seals the room. The body is covered with a dust sheet, Sir Reginald's face a pale mound beneath. The suspects are herded to the drawing room. Poirot lingers last, shining his torch over the bolt mechanism. Poirot, to himself. A lock is only as honest as the hand that turns it. He notices something glinting in the keyhole. A single strand of black silk, caught, torn. He plucks it free, twirls it between thumb and forefinger. Ah, the first thread. The tapestry begins. Music. The piano note returns, now joined by a low cello minor, inevitable. 7 minutes. 1 body, 6 suspects. 0 exits. The impossible has happened, darlings, and Poirot's little gray cells are already knitting the noose. Pop your guess in the comments. Who stood in that pool of lamplight with a raised blade? Whose heartbeat matched the dying tick of a smashed watch? 3. The alibi clock. The library at Harrogate Manor has never felt smaller. Midnight has come and gone, yet the rain keeps its own relentless time against the leaded windows, each drop a question mark. Poirot stands at the head of the long oak table like a conductor before a silent orchestra. The 6 suspects sit in a ragged semicircle, firelight flickering across faces that have forgotten how to be innocent. Hastings hovers with notebook poised. Japp leans against the doorframe, chewing an unlit pipe, and the air smells of wet wool, fear, and the ghost of Sir Reginald's blood. Poirot begins with the precision of a watchmaker. He lays out the timeline on a silver tray as if it were evidence. The hall clock stopped at 11:03, Sir Reginald's pocket watch smashed at 11:05, Evie's scream at 11:07. 4 minutes unaccounted for. 4 minutes in which a man was stabbed, a door locked from within, a message written in his own blood, and a killer vanished into thin air. We have alibis tighter than a miser's fist, Poirot says, voice soft. Yet one fist conceals a blade. He moves through the suspects with the patience of confession. Lady Beatrice claims the conservatory and solitaire. The scattered cards on the wicker table confirm the game, but not the player. Dr. Lang swears the dispensary and a sleeping draught. The maid heard glass at 11:04, yet the mixture in the mortar is still warm. Evie insists her room in the typewriter. The ribbon shows 47 fresh lines, the word intention repeated like a prayer. Tobias was snoring in the billiard room, footman's word. The brandy flask is empty, but the cork is missing. Duval's Paris call logged at 11:01. The operator's voice crackles in memory, yet the telephone cord in the alcove is frayed as if yanked. Mrs. Finch locked the silver at 11:05. The scullery boy saw her shadow, but the key ring on her belt now holds 1 key fewer. Poirot pauses beneath the stopped grandfather clock. Its hands frozen at 11:03 mock the room. He taps the glass. The pendulum hangs motionless. Clocks do not stop themselves, he murmurs, producing a small horseshoe magnet from his pocket. A faint click, and the pendulum stirs. Someone wished us to believe time itself died with Sir Reginald. He turns to Dr. Lang, whose waistcoat pocket bulges. The doctor flushes, withdraws an identical magnet. For my compass, Lang mutters. Poirot's smile is winter. Next, the scent of almonds. Poirot lifts the whiskey glass from the study, untouched, yet the aroma lingers. He sniffs Evie's manicured fingers, bergamot and acetone. Nail polish remover, mademoiselle. A clever ghost. Evie's eyes flicker, the first crack in the mask. Hastings whispers, poison and stabbing, belt and braces? Poirot shakes his head. Or distraction and desperation. The footprints trouble him most. Only Sir Reginald's shoes crossed the study carpet, yet the stray blood drop fell 6 inches from the desk. Poirot kneels, measures with a silk tape. The killer stood here. He marks the spot with chalk, raised the blade, then stepped back to lock the door. But the prints say no one walked away. Jap grunts. Unless they flew. Poirot's eyes gleam. Or walked backward in the victim's own shoes. He produces the diamond earring from its silk pouch. Lady Beatrice reaches instinctively, then stops. "I lost it yesterday," she repeats, but her voice is thinner now. Poirot lays the earring beside the chalk mark. "Yesterday it was on your dressing table. Tonight it rolled under a dying man's chair. Diamonds do not walk, madame." Tension coils like smoke. Tobias suddenly lurches to his feet, face blotched. "This is rot. Uncle Reggie was rewriting the will tonight, sealed in the safe. Open it, and we'll see who profits." Poirot's gaze sharpens. The safe behind the false panel. Combination 110326, the date of the First Lady Harrowgate's death. He spins the dial. The door swings open. Inside, a single envelope marked "Will" in Sir Reginald's spiky hand, wax seal intact. Poirot does not touch it. "The motive sleeps here," he says, "but the method is already awake." Mrs. Finch breaks the silence. "Sir Reginald argued at 11:02. I heard voices through the dumbwaiter, his and a woman's." Lady Beatrice stiffens. Evie's pen scratches once, then stops. Poirot whirls. A woman, yet every woman claims solitude. He strides to the dumbwaiter hatch, lifts the panel. Inside, a smear of fresh blood on the brass rail. The room exhales. Lightning forks outside. For an instant, every face is lit. Guilt, terror, calculation. Poirot closes the hatch with a soft click. The clock, the magnet, the missing cork, the blood on the rail. Threads, mes amis. Soon they weave a noose. He returns to the table, places the bent hairpin he found in the keyhole beside the diamond. Someone practiced this lock before tonight. Someone who types 47 lines of obsession. Someone whose footsteps have not yet been found. Silence falls heavier than the rain. Poirot's final words are almost tender. "The impossible is only the unconfessed. Tomorrow we listen to the house breathe its secrets." 4. Clues in red herrings. Dawn leaks gray through the library windows, painting the suspects in bruise-colored light. Poirot has not slept. His eyes are bright as wet pebbles. On the table before him lies a battlefield of evidence. The bent hairpin, the diamond earring, the horseshoe magnet, the torn theater ticket, the empty brandy cork, the blood-smeared dumbwaiter rail, and, newly arrived, a vial of cyanide found in Dr. Lang's bag, labeled rat poison, in a trembling hand. Jap circles like a terrier. Hastings scribbles until his pencil snaps. The rain has softened to a whisper, but the house still holds its breath. Poirot begins with the theater ticket protruding from Tobias's pocket. The mousetrap, dated tomorrow night, stall seat A13. "You plan to flee London after the murder, monsieur?" Tobias laughs, a cracked sound. "Uncle Reggie forbade the theater, said it was for degenerates. I bought it to spite him." Poirot notes the ticket is unused, the perforation intact. A red herring with teeth. Next, the cyanide. Dr. Lang's face collapses like wet paper. "For the estate's rats," he insists, but Poirot uncorks the vial. The almond scent is faint, diluted. He dips a strip of silver nitrate. No reaction. "Water and perfume," Poirot declares. "A prop, not a poison." Lang's relief is a confession of something smaller. Lady Beatrice's diamond earring gleams accusingly. Poirot produces its mate from her dressing table. Identical, but the clasp on the found earring is bent as if forced. "Someone wished you framed, madame." She touches her bare lobe, remembering. I wore both yesterday. One vanished after tea. Poirot's gaze flicks to Evie, whose shorthand notebook now sports a tiny diamond-shaped tear in the margin. The dumbwaiter yields more. Poirot lowers a weighted string. It returns with a single black silk thread caught on a nail, matching the strand from the keyhole. The thread is typewriter ribbon silk, the exact gauge used in Evie's corona. Hastings gasps. Poirot silences him with a look. Patience, mon ami, the ribbon tells tales, but not the whole story. Mrs. Finch brings coffee and a bombshell. Sir Reginald's safe was opened last night before the murder. I saw the panel ajar at 10:45. The will envelope inside now bears a second wax seal. Fresher. The Harrogate crest cracked. Poirot examines it under a lens. The crack aligns with a thumbnail impression, Evie's, from years of pressing carbon copies. Someone rehearsed the theft, he murmurs. Tobias suddenly bolts for the door, shouting about needing air. Jap tackles him in the corridor. A folded sheet flutters from Tobias's sleeve. Sir Reginald's handwriting, to my nephew, nothing but debts. The will's original page torn out. Tobias swears he found it in the billiard room. Poirot pockets it. Another herring, but this one swims upstream. The stopped clock yields its final secret. Poirot removes the pendulum. Inside the case, a tiny brass gear is missing. He finds it under the rug, filed smooth, deliberately sabotaged. The clock was murdered before the man, he says. Dr. Lang flinches. His medical bag contains a jeweler's file. Poirot stages a silent reconstruction. He locks the study door from outside using the bent hairpin threaded through the keyhole, a trick Evie demonstrates unconsciously on her notebook lock. The bolt slides with a soft click. Practice makes perfect, Poirot observes. Evie's fingers freeze mid-gesture. The blood message intention is re-examined. Poirot scrapes the dried letters, beneath faint indentations from a fountain pen refill, the cartridge missing from Sir Reginald's desk. He finds it in the conservatory soil, buried beneath a bergamot orange tree, Lady Beatrice's tree. Ink and earth, Poirot says. A message planted to grow suspicion. The footprints remain the thorn. Poirot sprinkles talcum powder across the study carpet. In the corner, a faint heel print appears, smaller than Sir Reginald's, the toe pointing toward the door. The killer walked backward in the victim's shoes, Poirot announces, then removed them outside. He opens the door. On the corridor runner, a single oxblood shoe print faces the study, then vanishes into the pattern. Jap swears. Final flourish. Poirot produces the missing brandy cork, found in the dumbwaiter shaft. It is carved with a tiny key, the exact size to fit the safe's secondary lock. Someone needed access after the murder, he says. The room is silent except for the rain. Poirot gathers the clues like a magician revealing cards. Hairpin, ribbon silk, filed gear, planted earring, forged will page, buried pen refill, backward footprint, carved cork. Red herrings swim in schools, he says, but the shark is solitary. His gaze settles on Evie, whose typewriter ribbon now shows 48 lines, the 47th repeated, the 48th a single word. Trap. Lightning flashes. The library clock strikes 6, though dawn is still an hour away. 5 complications and twists. Storm-lashed dusk returns to Harrogate as if the sky itself is trying to wash the house away. The telephone line is severed, the bridge flooded, the gates chained. The manor is an island of suspicion. Poirot gathers the survivors in the conservatory where bergamot and fear hang thick. Glass panes rattle like teeth. On the wicker desk sits Evie's typewriter, ribbon now at line 51. Trap, trap, trap. A second body has been found. Mrs. Finch, slumped in the pantry, lips blue, a half-empty cup beside her. The note pinned to her apron reads, "She knew too much." In Sir Reginald's spiky hand, but the ink is fresh, the paper torn from Evie's shorthand pad. Japp's face is thunder. Hastings' revolver trembles. Poirot alone is still, eyes glittering like frost on steel. He begins with the poison. Dr. Lang tests the dregs. Laudanum, not cyanide, enough to fell an ox. Mrs. Finch's keys are missing. The silver pantry is ransacked, yet nothing taken. Poirot lifts the cup. The rim bears a lipstick smear, coral pink, Lady Beatrice's shade. She pales. "I drank tea at 4, she says, but the conservatory teapot is cold, untouched since breakfast. The lipstick is waxy, theatrical, bought in Soho. Duval's pocket yields the identical stick. "For my mistress in Paris," he shrugs, but the foil wrapper is creased exactly like the note's edge. Tobias chooses this moment to confess. "I forged the will page," he slurs, "but someone switched it. My debts were going to be paid, then poof." He lunges for the safe. The combination now fails. Inside, the envelope is gone, replaced by a child's drawing. Stick figures, one stabbed, labeled Daddy. The paper is yellowed, 30 years old. Poirot recognizes the crayon, First Lady Harrowgate's nursery box. Someone has been in the attic. The dumbwaiter yields horror. Poirot lowers a lantern. At the bottom lies Mrs. Finch's keyring, one key snapped in the shaft. The broken key fits the study's secondary bolt, a hidden mechanism only the housekeeper knew. Blood on the key matches Mrs. Finch's type. "She was silencing herself," Japp growls, but Poirot kneels. The blood is arterial spray, impossible from a poisoned woman already dead. Someone staged the suicide after the fact. Evie's typewriter is the next betrayal. Poirot advances the ribbon. Line 52 reads, "The clock lies." He removes the platen. Wedged inside is a miniature gear, brass, identical to the one filed from the hall clock. Evie's fingers are stained with machine oil. "I clean it daily," she whispers, but the oil is fresh, smelling of the dispensary. Dr. Lang's hands are clean, too clean, scrubbed raw. Lady Beatrice drops the final grenade. "I heard Sir Reginald on the telephone at 10:58 after Duval's Paris call supposedly ended." The alcove receiver is off the hook, cord cut with pinking shears from the sewing room. The operator's log now shows 2 calls to Paris, one at 11:01, one at 10:58, both charged to the house. Duval's alibi phrased like his Gauloise's. Poirot stages chaos. He orders the study reopened. The blood message intention has been altered. Someone added a period in fresh ink, making it intention. The period is a fingerprint smudge, Evie's thumb. But the ink is indigo, not Sir Reginald's black. The conservatory desk holds an identical bottle, cap loose. Lady Beatrice's solitaire cards are missing the Queen of Spades found under Mrs. Finch's body, edge-stained indigo. Lightning reveals the final twist. The conservatory skylight is unlatched, rain pooling on the floor. Poirot climbs a stepladder. On the roof, a rope ladder coiled like a snake, weighted with a sandbag. Footprints in the wet leads, small, heeled, lead to the chimney. The flue is wide enough for a slight frame if the grate is removed. Soot on the ladder matches the study hearth. Someone entered after the murder, planted the earring, altered the message, then escaped upward. Poirot descends, soot on his gloves. "The locked room was unlocked twice," he says, "once to kill, once to frame." He lines up the suspects. Evie's oil-stained fingers, Duval's lipstick, Lang's scrubbed hands, Beatrice's missing queen, Tobias's child drawing, the snapped key. Mrs. Finch saw the second intruder. She was silenced before she could speak. The typewriter platen clicks one final time. Line 53. The roof remembers. 6. The revelation dawn. finally claws through the conservatory glass, pale and merciless. The rope ladder has been hauled inside. Soot footprints stop at the skylight like a confession cut short. Poirot stands beneath the open roof, rain dripping from his hat brim. The suspects ringed around him in a half-circle of exhaustion and dread. Evie's typewriter sits center stage, ribbon at line 54. All cats are gray in the dark. Jap's handcuffs clink softly. Hastings' revolver is steady now. The house itself seems to lean in, listening. Poirot speaks without flourish. The locked room was never locked. It was timed. He lifts the miniature brass gear from Evie's platen. The hall clock was stopped at 11:03 by Dr. Lang's magnet. The pocket watch smashed at 11:05 by the killer's heel. The scream at 11:07 staged. 4 minutes bought, not stolen. He turns to Evie. You typed 47 lines of intention while Sir Reginald argued with you at 11:02. You stabbed him, stopped the clock, locked the bolt with your practiced hairpin, smashed the watch, screamed. Then you returned via the roof at 11:30 to plant the earring and alter the message. Mrs. Finch saw you descend the dumbwaiter. You poisoned her with laudanum from Lang's dispensary, forged the note on your own pad, snapped the key to fake suicide. Evie's face is marble. Prove it. Poirot produces the coral lipstick from Duval's pocket. You borrowed this to frame Lady Beatrice. The Queen of Spades under Mrs. Finch, indigo ink from the conservatory bottle you used to dot the period on intention. The child's drawing, stolen from the attic to implicate Tobias. The rope ladder, knotted with typewriter ribbon silk, your signature gauge. He lifts the coil. The knots are Gordian, identical to the bow on Evie's dressing gown cord. Dr. Lang interrupts, voice cracking. I supplied the laudanum under duress. She threatened to expose my mercy killing of my wife. Sir Reginald knew. Poirot nods. Blackmail, not malpractice. You stopped the clock to give her the 4 minutes. The filed gear, your jeweler's touch. Duval lights a final Gauloise. And I? The Paris calls? Poirot smiles thinly. You made one call at 11:01 to establish your alibi. The second call at 10:58 was Evie, using the extension in the sewing room, mimicking your accent. The pinking shears cut on the cord, your scissors, but her hand. Lady Beatrice's laugh is brittle. The earring? Poirot opens his palm, the mate, clasp intact. You lost one yesterday. Evie stole the pair, bent one clasp, planted it. The diamond-shaped tear in your notebook, mademoiselle, where you pried the stone to fake loss. Tobias sags. The will page? Poirot unfolds the forged sheet. Your handwriting, but the ink is Evie's shorthand reserve. Indigo, not black. She switched pages to muddy motive. The roof ladder yields the final proof. Poirot climbs, retrieves a tiny soot-blackened shoe. Evie's, size 5, heel snapped in the flue. You climbed in stockings, left the shoe to lighten the load, the heel print in talcum, backward in Sir Reginald's shoes to erase your forward tracks. Evie lunges for the skylight. Jap cuffs her mid-reach. She spits. He was selling the Rembrandt. My forgery would have been discovered. Poirot's voice is soft steel. So you forged a perfect crime instead. The message intention, your confession typed 54 times until it became truth. The will is produced from Evie's typewriter case, everything to a cat's home, Sir Reginald's last joke. The Rembrandt? Rolled inside the rope ladder, Evie's insurance. Duval's eyes widen. He had been duped into buying a copy. Poirot steps back. Method, rehearsal, roof, dumbwaiter, typewriter ribbon, laudanum, forged note. Motive, exposure. Opportunity, 4 stolen minutes and a house of secrets. Evie is led away, typewriter ribbon trailing like a noose. The conservatory clock strikes 7. For the first time, it is correct. 7, just as served, morning light, thin and surgical, slices through the conservatory and finds the house already hollowed out. Evie Shaw sits handcuffed to a wicker chair. Peach silk dressing gown streaked with soot and indigo ink, eyes fixed on the typewriter that betrayed her. The ribbon has run out at line 55. Cats inherit. Jap stands over her with the quiet satisfaction of a man who has finally closed a file. Hastings polishes his revolver, though it was never fired. Poirot, immaculate again, adjusts his tie pin and surveys the wreckage of a perfect crime. Outside, the floodwaters recede, leaving the bridge intact. Nature's last irony. Jap begins the formalities. Evelyn Margaret Shaw, you are charged with the murders of Sir Reginald Harrogate and Mrs. Agatha Finch, and with conspiracy to defraud. Evie's laugh is small, cracked. Charge away. The will is real, the cats get everything. Poirot lifts the document from the typewriter case, wax seal unbroken. He cracks it open. 400,000 to the Battersea Cat's home, signed yesterday, witnessed by Mrs. Finch before her death. The Rembrandt, revealed as Evie's own forgery, lies rolled on the table, a mute accomplice. Duval stubs out his Gauloises on a bergamot leaf. I would have paid 50,000 for a fake. She played us all. Poirot walks the room, touching each prop like stations of the cross. The rope ladder, returned to the gardener's shed, knots retied with Evie's typewriter silk. The coral lipstick returned to Lady Beatrice, who drops it into her reticule without a word. The Queen of Spades slipped back into the solitaire pack, indigo stain, now a violet bruise. Dr. Lang signs a confession for the Mercy killing. His magnet and jeweler's file are bagged as evidence. Tobias pockets the child's drawing. His own from 30 years ago tears, smudging the crayon. Uncle Reggie kept it to torment me, he mutters. Turns out the joke was on him. Each step is timed with Hastings's stopwatch. The 4 stolen minutes fit like gloves. The soot-blackened shoe is produced. Evie's left pump, heel snapped in the flue, now reunited with its mate. She does not look up. Lady Beatrice breaks the silence. The prenup? Poirot smiles gently. Expires in 89 days. You are wealthy, madam, but innocent. She exhales, a sound like silk tearing. Duval is escorted to the village constable for questioning over art fraud. His Paris mistress will wait. Lang is led away in a separate car. Mercy killing carries its own sentence. Tobias staggers to the billiard room, muttering about selling the manor to pay debts the cats no longer owe. Poirot lingers in the study. He fingers the brass key found in the grate, the safe's secondary carved from the brandy cork. A flourish, he says. The killer wished us to admire the craft. He opens the safe one last time. Inside, a second envelope unmarked. Poirot slices it open, a single sheet. If I die by violence, trust no one. R.H. Dated yesterday. Poirot folds it into his pocket. The victim solved his own murder, but too late. The cars arrive. Evie is bundled into the Black Maria, typewriter confiscated as evidence. She pauses on the steps. Tell the cats I tried, she says. The door slams. The manor exhales. Poirot, Hastings, and Jap take the rolls. As they descend the drive, Poirot glances back. The house stands empty, windows blind. In the conservatory, the typewriter ribbon flutters in the draft. Line 56 appears, ghost-typed by wind. The roof forgives nothing. The car rounds the bend. Harrogate vanishes behind yews. The cats inherit. The house forgets. Justice is served, but the taste lingers. Bergamot blood and printer's ink. Thank you for walking the locked corridors with us. If your gray cells are still humming, subscribe, ring the bell. Next week, a fresh manor, a fresh noose. Until then, keep your intentions pure and your ribbons short. 8. The unsent letter. 3 weeks later, the manor is shuttered, windows boarded like closed eyes, the cats of Battersea already purring over their legacy. Poirot sits alone in his Baker Street flat, fire crackling, a single gasogene hissing on the sideboard. On the blotter before him lies the second envelope from Sir Reginald's safe, the one marked only with yesterday's date. The paper is heavy, cream-laid, the ink still sharp. Poirot has read it 17 times. Each reading tightens the knot in his little gray cells. Hastings is in Argentina, Jap is buried in paperwork. The room smells of tisane and regret. He slices the envelope again, though the wax is long broken. The letter unfolds like a confession that arrived too late. To whoever finds this, if I die by violence, trust no one, especially not my secretary. She has been forging my hand for months, selling minor canvases through Duval, building toward the Rembrandt. I have proof in the attic strongbox, combination 260311, my first wife's birthday backward. Destroy this if I live. If not, give it to Poirot. He will understand intention when it is written in blood. R.H. Poirot's mustache twitches. The attic strongbox, never mentioned at the manor. He rings the yard. Jap grunts. House is locked pending probate. Poirot is already reaching for his coat. By noon he is back at Harrogate, the village constable yawning beside him, keys cold as guilt. The attic ladder creaks like an old man's knees. Dust lies thick as funeral velvet. In the far corner, beneath a child's rocking horse, the strongbox squats, combination 260311. Inside, a ledger in Evie's neat shorthand, entries for 12 paintings sold, totals $18,000. A photograph of the Rembrandt, original beside Evie's copy, brushstrokes annotated in red, and a single page torn from Sir Reginald's diary. Confront E tonight. Will at stake. If she refuses, expose her to Duval. Dated the day of the murder. Poirot's breath fogs in the cold. The ledger's final entry. R.H. suspects. Must act before will is signed. The ink is indigo. Evie's shorthand reserve. The photograph's back bears a thumbprint in bergamot oil. Evie's signature sent from the conservatory. Downstairs, the study door stands ajar. Poirot enters alone. The bloodstains are gone, scrubbed by probate cleaners, but the carpet still bears a darker patch. He kneels, runs a gloved finger across the grain. Beneath the rug's edge, a loose floorboard. Pried up, it reveals a hidden compartment. Inside, a second letter opener twin to the murder weapon, blade clean. Wrapped around the hilt, a lock of black hair tied with typewriter ribbon silk. Evie's. Poirot's eyes narrow. The ribbon is line 57, ghost-typed after her arrest. One blade for him, one for me. A suicide pact abandoned when the roof ladder beckoned. The hair is fresh. Cut the night of the murder, kept as trophy or talisman. The conservatory next. The bergamot trees droop, unwatered. Beneath the largest pot, Poirot digs with a trowel. 6 inches down, a small tin box. Inside, $400 in notes, Evie's escape fund, and a railway ticket to Dover dated the morning after the murder. The ticket is unused, the perforation crisp. She never meant to run, the roof was always plan B. Back in London by dusk, Poirot visits Evie in Holloway. She sits in gray prison garb, hair shorn, eyes flat. You found the attic, she says without greeting. Clever Belgian. Poirot lays the ledger, photograph, diary page, second blade, hair, ticket on the table between them. You rehearsed for months. The will was the trigger, but the forgery was the crime. Evie's smile is winter. He was going to expose me on Guy Fawkes night. Fireworks for my career. I gave him his own spark. She touches the ribbon lock. The hair, a keepsake. The blade, insurance. I would have joined him if the roof had failed. Poirot leans close. And Mrs. Finch? Evie shrugs. She saw me descend the dumbwaiter at 11:32, 1 cup of tea, 1 secret silenced. She taps the unused ticket. The cat's won. I lost. But the copy of the Rembrandt, my copy, hangs in Duval's Paris flat. He'll never know. Poirot rises. Art like murder is in the intention. He leaves the evidence. The wardress locks the gate. That night, Poirot mails a parcel to Battersea Cat's home. The $400 anonymous. On the wrapping, a single line in his neat hand. For the gray ones who wait. The fire in Baker Street settles into embers. Poirot pours a final tisane, raises the cup to the shadows. To intention, he murmurs, and to the letters that arrive too late. 9. The echo in the chimney. A month has passed since the Black Maria carried Evie Shaw away, yet Harrogate refuses to die. Probate auctioneers swarm the halls, tagging furniture with yellow stickers, but the house fights back. Doors slam in empty corridors. The grandfather clock chimes 13, though its hands are removed, and every night at 11:07 the study bolt slides home with a metallic sigh no one throws. Poirot returns uninvited, driven by a postcard from the Battersea Cat's home. Grey tabby answers to intention. Won't eat. He arrives at twilight with a valise, a thermos of tisane, and the uneasy certainty that a crime is not finished until the house itself is silent. He begins in the attic. The strongbox is gone, sold for scrap, but the floorboards remember. Beneath the rocking horse, a loose plank lifts to reveal a child's slate chalked with the word intention in Evie's adult hand. The letters pressed so deep the slate is scarred. Beside it, a miniature noose knotted from typewriter ribbon. Line 58, ghost-typed after the trial. Poirot pockets both. The attic smells of bergamot and soot. The chimney flue yawns like a throat. Down the narrow servant's stair, candle in hand. The walls sweat. At the study level, the flue widens into a secret alcove, bricked up decades ago but recently reopened, mortar crumbs still fresh. Inside, a ledger duplicate, pages torn out, and a reel of recording wire, early dictaphone, the kind Evie used for Sir Reginald's letters. Poirot winds it onto his pocket player. A hiss, then Sir Reginald's voice, tinny but unmistakable. Evie, if you're hearing this, I'm dead. The Rembrandt is in the chimney. Burn this wire. The recording cuts to Evie's whisper. Too late, darling. The cats will starve. The wire snaps. Poirot descends into the study chimney itself, coat ruined, mustache singed. Halfway down, a false brick swings aside. Behind it, the original Rembrandt, rolled tight, edges scorched but intact. Wrapped around it, a final note in Evie's hand, written in prison ink smuggled on a lawyer's cuff. The house keeps what it kills. Tell the cats I'm sorry. The canvas smells of bergamot oil, Evie's preservative. The painting is worth $200,000. The cats inherit dust. The conservatory at midnight. Poirot sets the Rembrandt on the wicker desk beside Evie's typewriter. He threads the final ribbon. Line 59 appears as he types, The chimney remembers. He lights a spill from the fire, holds it to the canvas corner. The oil flares blue, then gold. The painting curls, blackens, becomes ash. The typewriter platen clicks once more. Line 60. Ashes inherit. He climbs to the roof. The skylight is open, rain has stopped. The rope ladder is gone, but the sandbag weight remains, soaked, sprouting bergamot seeds. Poirot cuts it open. Inside, Mrs. Finch's missing keys wrapped in the Queen of Spades. The sand pours out like an hourglass. He scatters the seeds to the wind. Back in the study, Poirot pours paraffin from his thermos flask. Tisane abandoned for justice. He strikes a match. The carpet blooms orange. The bloodstain darkens, then vanishes. The bolt slides open of its own accord. The house exhales one last time. Bergamot, soot, and something like relief. Poirot steps into the corridor as flames lick the panels. Behind him, the word intention blisters, curls, is gone. Outside, the fire brigade arrives too late. The manor burns cleanly, roof collapsing inward like a sigh. Poirot watches from the U-tunnel, coat singed, mustache intact. The cat's home will receive an anonymous $50 insurance payout, enough for a lifetime of whiskers. In Baker Street, Dawn finds Poirot at his desk. On the blotter, the child's slate, the noose ribbon, the charred corner of the Rembrandt. He wraps them in brown paper, addresses the parcel to Holloway Prison, Evie Shaw. Inside, a single line. The house is quiet now. The intention is served. The fire in his hearth settles into embers. Somewhere, a gray tabby purrs. 10. The last line of the ribbon. 6 months on, spring has crept into London like a cautious guest. Poirot sits in the Baker Street flat, window open to the scent of lilac and horse dung. On the desk lies the charred corner of the Rembrandt, the child's slate, the miniature noose, and a fresh envelope. Thick, cream-laid, no return address. The postmark reads Holloway Prison. Inside, a single sheet of prison notepaper and a strip of typewriter ribbon, black with one final line in Evie's cramped hand. Line 61. The cats were always the point. Poirot's mustache lifts in the faintest smile. He has been waiting for the epilogue. He pours a small glass of crème de menthe, sets the ribbon on a white saucer, and lights it with a spill. The fabric curls, smokes, releases the scent of bergamot and prison soap. The paper beneath is untouched. He unfolds it. Monsieur Poirot, you burned the wrong painting. The Rembrandt in the chimney was my second copy. Insurance for the insurance. The original left Harrogate the night of the murder, rolled inside Mrs. Finch's apron when she carried the silver to the pantry. She never knew. Duval has it in Paris. He paid $200,000 to a Battersea night porter who posted it as cat baskets. The cats inherit nothing but the legend. I inherit the joke. The ribbon ends here. E.S. Poirot exhales, half laugh, half sigh. He lifts the telephone, dials Jap at the yard. Mon ami, a small favor. Check the Battersea delivery logs for November 6th. Jap grumbles but promises. Poirot hangs up, opens his ledger, and writes in neat copper plate, "Case reopened. Art fraud. Posthumous." An hour later, Jap rings back. Found it, parcel posted 3 a.m., labeled cat baskets fragile. Weight, 2.1 kilos. Signature A. Finch. Poirot nods to the empty room. Mrs. Finch, dead by laudanum, had signed in Evie's mimicry. Her final forgery. Poirot takes the train to Paris that evening, first class, a small valise and a forged letter of introduction as Monsieur Duval's cousin from Brussels. Duval's gallery in the Rue de Seine is all chrome and white walls. The Rembrandt hangs center stage, spotlighted, titled Portrait of a Woman in Gray. The brushwork is flawless, the crackle authentic, the bergamot scent faint but unmistakable. Duval greets him with Gauloises and suspicion. You admire? Poirot inclines his head. I admire intention. He produces the charred corner, the one Evie claimed was the original. Under ultraviolet light in Duval's back room, the pigments glow wrong, modern titanium white beneath the glaze. Duval pales. Mon Dieu, a copy? Poirot smiles. Your $200,000 bought a ghost. The real one burned with the house. Duval lunges for the safe. Poirot is faster. The tiny derringer in his pocket presses cold against the dealer's ribs. No. The painting returns to the cats. He telephones the Sûreté from Duval's desk. Within the hour, gendarmes arrive. The Rembrandt, copy number 2, is seized as evidence. Duval is led away muttering about Paris mistresses and bad investments. Back in London, Poirot visits Battersea Cat's home at dusk. The gray tabby Intention sits on a velvet cushion, tail curled like a question mark. Poirot places a check in the matron's hand. 200,000, drawn on Duval's frozen accounts, redirected by court order. For the gray ones, he says. The matron's eyes fill. Intention purrs, loud as a motor. That night, Poirot dines alone at Simpson's. Roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, a half bottle of pomard. He raises the glass to the empty chair opposite. To you, Mademoiselle Shaw. The perfect crime was the one no one solved until the ribbon ran out. In Holloway, Evie receives a parcel. The original Rembrandt postage paid from Paris, wrapped in prison gray. A note in Poirot's hand. The cats decline. Enjoy the view. She hangs it above her cot, the woman in gray staring down with Evie's own eyes. Poirot returns to Baker Street. The fire is low. He opens the desk drawer, removes the typewriter ribbon ash, scatters it into the flames. The last wisp curls upward, vanishes. He closes the ledger, writes on the final page, "Case closed, intention served." Outside, London breathes lilac and coal smoke. Somewhere, a gray cat dreams of bergamot. The ribbon ends, the cats win, the house is ash.